Want to get fast but don't like to run? Stick around and I'll give you a framework so you can start getting faster today. It's probably the most common thing we hear, right? I want to get faster. Because we think if we have a lack of technical skill, if we have some athleticism, it can make up for that. And there is some give and take between technical and athleticism, but we do know with all of the latest research that underlying everything is that technical mastery. But it sure helps when you're athletic, right? So let's work on that speed. So what is speed actually? Speed is the development of usable power, so fast power applied to our bodies. It's really not complicated. So let's break down how we develop that power. The first thing is to have what we call relative strength. Okay, and what I mean by that is strength relative to your body weight. And this is very easy to develop. It just takes consistency. You're not going to be suddenly relatively strong in 6 or 8 weeks. It takes years, but each one of the days of effort is not exceedingly long. So what we need to do is start working now on our lunges, our body weight squats, all of the things that are going to get our lower body stronger. The next one is our shoulders. Now they contribute about 15 to 20% of our running speed because they help carry us. So we need to make sure we have strong shoulders and upper back also. But the powerhouse, where all the horsepower comes from, is down below our waist. Now the other side of relative strength is having the correct body composition, right? Because it doesn't do us any good if, let's say, we get to where we squat 400 pounds, which very few soccer players squat 400 pounds. But for example, if we squat 400 pounds, that's very different if you weigh, say, 160 pounds, because 160 plus 160 is 320 plus another 80, half of that weight is 400. So at that point, you'd be squatting 2.5 times your weight. But if you're a big 350-pound offensive lineman in the NFL, if you squat 400, first of all, you wouldn't be in the NFL because they squat 800, 900, 1,000 pounds. But 400 relative to 350, you're barely squatting your body weight, okay? So it's relative strength. We need to start building that up. And that doesn't mean we need to go to the Y and throw on as much weight as we can on our backs. It is a slow process. And for almost every single athlete I've ever worked with, it always starts with body weight dominated exercises. Okay, so we're talking about lunges, Bulgarian lunges, body weight squats, all of those sorts of things. Okay, now once we get to the point where we start building up some strength and we have the habit of working at it, the next thing is we need to work on converting that to power. And so what that means is, like, it doesn't matter if we go really slow with a squat, that's not running. We need to develop that power so we can just explode forward, right, when we want to accelerate, or to very quickly decelerate and change direction. And that has everything to do with force and power. And what that means is strength used very quickly. We're able to call on it extremely quickly. So how do we do that? We do that through different jumps, okay? And all of the jumps are everything you think of. Everybody tries to make it super complicated, and for most athletes, if you're not with a trainer who's measuring you every single time, it can be something as simple as, I'm gonna put out some cones and I'm gonna put out a measuring tape with some cones, and I'm gonna do 3 skips right-footed first for as far as I can. And then I'm gonna do 3 skips left-footed first as far as I can. So skips, bounds, hops, all of these things are super effective in developing that power, okay? And it's funny because everybody's like, oh, we gotta do something super fancy. Not really. Usable power comes from skipping, bounding. In fact, that's actually what sprinting is. Sprinting is nothing more than a series of jumps. It's just jumps with a certain form. But when you actually break down world-class sprinters, they are bounding down the track, okay? So, relative strength, now we're gonna work on our bounding. And the final is that piece that I said when I said relative strength, is we need to make sure that we're giving our body the right fuel. So that way, not only do we have the energy so we can start building the habits of working on our relative strength and doing our jump training, is that we can also make sure that our body is very lean, okay? Because you can imagine, how fast do you think you'd be, or how much higher do you think you would jump and it's a trick question, if you had to put on like a 30-pound weight vest. So now I'm going to jump up as high as I can, or I'm going to explode down, and I'm going to be racing down the sidelines after I push the ball past somebody. And then I say, hey, you know what? You have to put on this 30-pound weight vest. Not only is that going to wear you out over the course of the game because you're carrying around all that extra weight, but you know that a car that is super, super heavy with a certain engine in it is not going to be as fast as a car that has the exact same engine but is much lighter. All right? So the lighter you can be with your strength and with your power, the better off you're going to be. Okay? So we need to make sure that the fuel we're putting into our body is keeping us nice and lean, but giving us the energy we need. And the final piece comes down to, yes, yes, you're going to have to add efficiency. Okay? And what efficiency means is you're gonna have to learn, when I get this power, I get this strength, and I get this power, and I'm a nice, chiseled, lean athlete, how do I actually use it? Okay? So we have to make sure that our power is being used properly. And yes, this does come down to some running form drills. Now, does this mean we're gonna go to track practice? Absolutely not. Okay? But we have to use the proper forms so all of that explosive power that we have pent up, we use exactly properly, so we're running in the direction we want to go, we're decelerating hard, we're changing direction, and we're doing that as efficiently as possible. Because I can't go this way if all of my force is going left and right. I need to be putting all that force that way so I can move this way, right? And that's why there's so many running drills. And the funny thing is you don't need to do a lot. You can probably pick somewhere between 4 and 6 running drills, and you don't have to really do a lot more. Generally speaking, if you pick 4 or 6 progressive running drills and you just do them a couple of times a week, that's more than enough. So definitely not track practice to get fast, okay? I hope this helped you out, all right? It is literally the most common question I get, because actually, who likes running outside of track people? And I'm not even sure that track people like running that much, right? But for soccer, where you're talking about acceleration, not a whole lot of top speed, you're talking about relative strength, power, having a lean, fit body, and then also making sure that you're efficient and applying your force in the direction it has to go. I hope this helped you out, and I hope you go out and use some of it to get faster today. Take care.